Hey YouTube, this is Matt Young here just with a review today of the 80th anniversary edition of the Crossway ESV Omega Thinline Reference Bible. This came in the mail earlier this week. I was able to take some pictures and stuff. It comes in a nice black box. It's just a separating box with not a clamshell or anything fancy like that. It does come with a nice little letter from Lane Dennis, who's the president of Crossway. It's a really nice touch, especially for an 80th edition anniversary of Crossway itself. The Bible is wrapped in what feels like kind of a velvety cloth rather than the paper that you might see with an Allen Bible or something. It just comes right in the box. One of the things that's nice about this Bible is that there are some changes that Crossway has made in terms of how the covers are constructed. So back in the day, Crossway would do a little bit of a thicker liner on their Bibles. This one is a genuine leather, or I don't know if it's necessarily pigskin, genuine leather, but it is a real leather liner, which is really nice. But it's thinner. It's thinner than most liners that I've seen. For example, if you have a Cambridge goatskin leather Bible, that feels a lot more robust than this cover is. This cover is nice and floppy, a lot like an Allen Bible would be. It's got almost a full yap on the outside, which is really cool. It's a little different than some of the other Crossways, which were a lot thinner around the edges, so there wasn't much of a yap at all. It comes with your general 4 ribbons. I've already pulled these out. I've had it for the last week, just using it and messing around with it and seeing what it's like and stuff. So one of the main complaints also from Crossway Bibles is that there's a pretty stiff hinge. If you open up the Bible, you can see that there's not quite that same stiff hinge that's going on there. We'll start at the beginning real quick for you. It's edge-lined, obviously. That can be expected with any heirloom thin line or any heirloom Bible that Crossway creates. You got a full signature of kind of a thicker paper. This is one of the things I love about Crossway Bibles. Even in their their mass-produced Bibles, like their thin lines and others, you have this thick paper, a full signature of that, before they tab in the thinner Bible paper. What that does is that just makes the entire construction that much nicer. The Bibles last longer. I've had thin line. My wife especially has a thin line Bible that has lasted her 4 years of getting pulled in and out of her purse, brought to Bible study, brought to church and stuff. Crossway is just a really amazing producer when it comes to quality Bibles, and this is definitely no exception at all. So if you zoom in, you can see it has the 2016 text printed in the Netherlands, which is great. It's printed over at Youngblood. The paper itself is I want to say it's around 28 GMS or GSM, or however you want to say it. It feels coated. I don't know if that is for certain or not. You can see, though, some of the contrast between the Bible paper and then the thicker signature at the front of the Bible. It's a little bit off-white. It's really nice to read. So this Bible, in and of itself, probably one of my favorite layouts. It's super easy to read. It's a 10-point font. The black is a nice black in the sense that it's not faded. Some Bibles you'll get where it's almost like a off black, kind of like a really dark gray. This is not the case. This is a bold black that pops right off the page, partly because the ghosting is not that bad. The ghosting meaning the text that shows through on the backside and from other pages. It's line matched, which means the lines, the line of a text on the front of the page lines up exactly on the back of the page. What you'll find in any Bible is some pages aren't going to line up in terms of this page don't necessarily line up. That's not what line matching entails. From what I understand, line matching is just from one page to the next page. All right? They do their best to match them as each page goes along. There's just variance. There's a lot of variables when you're printing a book that has over 1,000 pages in it. So you just can't expect that every page is going to be perfect as it gets bound and printed and stuff. One thing that's really nice about this layout in comparison with the large print Thinline Reference Bible that is out is that this actually has a 1/2 inch margin, or just over a 1/2 inch margin. And even in the gutter there's quite a bit too. It just allows the text to breathe a little bit more. Comparatively, the large print Thinline edition, reference edition, that Crossway produces in the ESV, it's a 10.5 point font rather than a 10-point font. It's the same footprint, which necessarily means that just the text in general has to expand out over the page. As you can see in the prose text, it's just straight through. The ESV doesn't do a lot of paragraphing compared to some other translations, like say the NIV, which is another one of my favorites, the NLT and such. So in some places where it's just all prose, it can feel like a lot on your eyes just to read. I don't know if they actually did space out the leading more, but this Bible just feels a lot more enjoyable, pleasurable to read than, say, the large print Thinline Reference Edition. The text in that one just feels really cramped on the page. Skipping to the Psalms, as you can see, honestly, just beautiful layout in general, even here. One of the things I love about this text is that because they've moved the references down here, it actually creates a lot more space for the lines to space out. I haven't counted the amount of characters per line, but it's really comfortable to read and feels pretty natural. Feels like it's around the 40, 45, 50 character range. Don't quote me on that. I don't know if that's necessarily true or not, but it feels pretty good. Maybe closer to 30 or so. Every now and then you will have pages where you have a lot of one word hangers. No matter what, you're going to get that with any 2-column text. I don't know of a single text that is 2 columns and avoids that. That's just kind of par for the course in this. Another thing I really love about this is it is a black letter text. I don't personally have any theological issue. I actually didn't even hear that people had theological issues with red letter text or black letter text or whatever. For me, it becomes an issue of it's another variable to add to the printing process. If you are printing a Bible, again, you have over 1,000 pages to manage in a signature. So if even the slightest shifting happens in the process, you can actually get a red text that isn't perfectly lined up with the black text right next to it. Personally, it has happened to me several times in different Bibles. Never to make it unreadable. It just can serve to be an eyesore. That's all. And it's another distraction to have. The headings in the Bible are in italics and slightly more bold, slightly bigger font than the regular text. In this one, it feels like the verse numbers are in a bold and are about as bold as the letters themselves. The numbers are verse numbers. What that does is that just makes this really easy if you're preaching or teaching to just quickly pick up a verse. Plus, if you use the same Bible that you prepare with, generally speaking, you're going to be able to know where to look on the page exactly, where you're going anyways. So no red letter to introduce any extra variables in the process. Nice chapter and verse numbers and headings. Very undistracting. I think it's, what's the guy's name? Mark, I can't remember. He does the Bible design blog. If you ever want to head over there, one of the things that he said is that amazing typography and printing and binding, like a perfect or great, well quality done text, is one that is undistracting. You actually won't really notice the text even, because all you're noticing is its content. The less distracting it is, the better. So then you got your regular tables and measurements. You've got a hefty concordance, which is nice, all the way through. Concordance looks like it's about 6 in terms of font size. Regular Crossway maps. And then you got a few pages in the back here as well. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then kind of like the tabbed in half one. Just if you ever want to note take or anything, you got 5 or 6 pages there for you. Overall, this really is an amazing Bible. If you have a pastor friend or you just want to have a really great text to be able to read, this is ESV by Crossway. Really is just a great translation all around. There are a lot of really great translations, thankfully, in English that we have. Some comparison. Many of us have thin lines, so this is just some of the comparison right there for you for its size. What that looks like in comparison. If I haven't mentioned this already, Crossway you got your 4 ribbon markers. They call them liturgical markers. I don't know why. Just with different colors, shades of brown. These are kind of rinky-dink. That's okay though. Nobody really cares about ribbons anyways. They go into marketplace, and as long as it's thin enough to pull out without damaging the text, that's all that really matters. One thing to note is that, so if you like a little bit more structure in your cover, this might not be the Bible for you. There's quite a bit of yap on it, and it's also very floppy. You can actually roll it up pretty thin, and it's just gonna, it just stays there. This thing, it opens up at Genesis 1, opens up with a preface, and stays flat, and is readable. So just know that this thing is like super floppy, super great. It's not like a Cambridge text or even like the old school ESV heirlooms that Crossway used to put out. They've since updated it. It's got 4 ribs on the back, which is really nice, your ESV logo. They don't have the overkill that they used to, which is nice. It's a very pebbly, grained cover as well. Not some grains are really kind of smooth and yet pebbly. This is a rougher texture, which is really nice, but it's thinner, like I was saying. So just know that that's what you're getting into. This would be an amazing Bible to own, to give, whatever. So just know that if you purchase this text, if you purchase this Bible, the 80th year anniversary edition of the Omega Thinline Reference, just know you're getting an amazing text that you really can't go wrong with. So, hope you guys enjoyed the review. Have a good one.